Stay African.
Welcome to the only show that brings you happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations, diplomatic affairs. My name is Harriet Nartey. The show comes off on Pan-African television every Saturday between the hours of 4 to 5 o'clock p.m. And of course, we are also global via social media, Facebook and YouTube. Wherever you find yourself, you can always catch up with us when it comes to news around diplomacy, international relations, foreign policy, and of course, engagements between countries and global affairs. We are also in over 40 African countries in the interest of Pan-Africanism. Well, we go where the news is. So this time around, we are currently in Madrid, Spain. And of course, as you can see behind us, this is the embassy of Ghana right here in Spain and of course in Madrid. So we are here on the back of the official visits of the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, where she is meeting her counterpart, the Spanish Foreign Affairs Minister, as part of deepening bilateral relations between Ghana and Spain. And of course, we are very much interested when it comes to relations, the details of relations between our two countries, and to also find out whether there is a level playing field between the two countries in terms of their mutual interests when it comes to the areas of cooperation. I understand two key MOUs are going to be signed on the back of this visit, official visit. So we will be looking at the various areas that the MOUs are going to be signed. I'm told sports and tourism are key when it comes to relations between our two countries. And of course, you know, when it comes to sports, Spain is one of the countries leading in sports and all of that. We'll see you on the other side.
For centuries, diplomacy has been the thread that shapes and holds our global landscape together, and the players, silent heroes. To celebrate the heroism of these unsung heroes, Diplomatic Affairs Media and Communications Limited, in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, proudly presents Diplomatic Honors 2024 under the theme Leveraging Diplomacy for Industrialization, Sustainable Development, Peace and Security. Join us on Saturday, 14th of September 2024 at the prestigious Accra International Conference Center, AICC, as we celebrate the exemplary achievements of these distinguished people. This event is not just an evening of recognition. It's a tribute to those who forge international relations with integrity, skill, and dedication. For sponsorship opportunities or table reservations, kindly call +233 502 778 335. For more information, visit our website at diplomatichonorsdatvgh.com. Diplomatic Honors 2024, celebrating diplomatic excellence.
Hello there, you're welcome to the only show that brings you happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations, diplomatic affairs. My name is Harriet Nartey. The show comes off every Saturday from 4 to 5 o'clock p.m. on Pan-African television. We are also global via social media, so Facebook and YouTube. Wherever you find yourself in the world, as I always say, you can catch up with us and get to know what is happening in this space. And also, in the interest of Pan-Africanism, we are in over 40 African countries. Today we are coming to you from the embassy of Ghana right here in Madrid, Spain, and it's all about Ghana-Spain bilateral relations or diplomatic ties. We will be talking about the many areas of cooperation or areas of interest between our two countries, what they are doing together. And I know there is so much happening. How? Because we've been following the Spanish ambassador back home in Ghana to learn more about what their interests are when it comes to relations with us. And also we decided to just fly over all the way from Accra to Madrid to meet with Ghana's ambassador or representative right here in Spain, who is championing our interest when it comes to what we want with the Kingdom of Spain. So it's been a great experience for us. I'll talk about the food. I'll talk about the, many interventions between these two countries. We'll talk about culture. We'll talk about social issues. We'll talk about sports, diplomacy, and, more. I'll take a break. When I come back, my guest is already seated, relaxed, and ready to fill us in. We'll be back right after this break. Welcome back. My name is Harriet. Nartey. The show is Diplomatic Affairs. We are the only window to diplomatic issues, foreign policy of countries, and of course, international relations, global affairs, you name it. This is what we stand for. So like I mentioned, my guest is already seated and he's ready for us to have a conversation. I'm very much curious when it comes to Ghana's interest regarding relations between Ghana and Spain. What are the benefits, the gains, our interest? How are we pursuing them as part of our developmental agenda? What are we doing and how are we going about all of this? My guest is Ambassador Mohamed Adam, who is representing Ghana right here in Spain, the government of Ghana, and of course the people as well. Excellency, it's good to have you on Diplomatic Affairs.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I am doing very well.
It's good to see you.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
so much for your time. Thank you. How do we say welcome to Spain and all of that? Welcome to Spain in the Spanish language.
Bienvenido a España.
Okay, I can't repeat that, but so I would say what?
Bienvenido.
Bienvenido. And my response will be what?
Gracias.
Gracias. That is
Gracias,
thank you.
Thank you.
You speak fluent Spanish.
Yes.
Where did you get that from?
I learned Spanish from Spain here. Actually, this is not my first time here in Spain. I served here as an officer in this particular mission. That is between 2007 and 2011. And I took advantage of that period, that opportunity to learn the Spanish language, combining my work with schooling in the Spanish language. And then, so that's how come I'm quite fluent in the language.
You're quite fluent indeed.
Yes.
But what was the interest? Because people come, they pass through the system doesn't really pass through them. Why did you decide to go for this language?
Well, there are different views about people serving in countries. Others think that you can serve, and which is true, you can serve without necessarily learning the language. But I think it is better to learn the language. I will tell you what Nelson Mandela, for instance, said. He says, if you speak to a man in a language that he understands, it goes to his head. But if you speak to a man in his own language, it goes to his soul. So if you're an officer and you are serving in a country and you learn their language, you learn their culture, it becomes very, very easy for you to relate to them and they understand you. Life becomes very easy for you. I'll tell you a story. I came and I learned the Spanish language so well. I went back for about over 10 years before coming back. But because of the way I learned it, I kept it and I came and made it very easy for me. So I presented my credentials to the king in Spanish.
No way.
Yes. So you can imagine, I presented my credentials to the king in Spanish. And then from there, it was like I became a star all over. Everybody wanted to, who are you? How come? It's like somebody going to a Jubilee house.
Right.
And maybe
presenting their credentials in Chi, an European or American or a foreigner actually presenting their credentials in Chi, in Ewe, in Hausa, in Dagbani.
Exactly. So that's what happened. So, I mean, the language, and personally I like learning languages anyway. But then I really feel that it is always good, and I think we are even told that to serve in a country is always good to learn the language if you have time or if you can, make it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you, without the language, you can't function. Okay. But I think with the language, you function better. And you can interact with the people. They see you as part of them. You relate to them. I do almost all my things. All my official meetings, I do them in
comfortably in Spanish?
Everything I do it in Spanish.
So you don't need a translator?
No. We have a translator in the office for
Right.
other officials, but I do everything I do in Spanish. Whatever meeting.
Obviously, you handle yourself very well
Yes,
in that area and all the other areas under your leadership. Excellency, now, would you say, before we even come to how it all started for you, occupying this office and serving the government and the people of our dear country, Ghana, would you say language also played a key role in your appointments?
I don't know. It may be possible, but that appointment is something that it's at the pleasure of the president. But I believe possibly they would have looked at my profile, would have known that I have served here before, possibly said that, or having served here before, maybe it would be better. It's possible, but the decision rests beyond me. All what they do is they appoint you, but obviously...
Of course, it's based on merit. It's based on merit, and this could be one of the elements in the merit.
Yes, I wouldn't discount that.
Right.
I'm just trying to run away from it. But the appointing authority knows why they do it. But,
right.
It could be possibly, most probably.
That could also be because it needed to be
consideration.
strategic for us to be able to get things done.
That could have been a consideration. But that, but others have actually. We have had. I'm the fourth ambassador here. And, the others who came before me were not necessarily Spanish speaking, and they did their work very well, and then went back. I actually have served under two of the three ambassadors before me. I was here when I served under the first Ambassador Chega, who was the first ambassador to Spain. I served under him. I served under Ambassador Eka, who was the second ambassador. And then the third ambassador I didn't serve under. I had gone back, and she was here, and she's the one I replaced. But all of them did their work very well, and we have come to continue.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily speak Spanish.
But the job was still done.
Exactly.
So they laid the foundation for you.
And we are continuing. Somebody also will come and then continue
from where you left off.
Yeah.
That is how leadership is supposed to be. So it's in order. Let's talk about your career journey. I'm very much interested. How did it all start for you?
Well, after university, I did my national service in the Foreign Ministry.
Oh.
Yes.
And where was university?
Legon.
Okay.
I finished Legon and then did my national service in the Foreign Ministry. After my national service, I got a scholarship to go and study international relations outside the country. And then I came back, and as I was at the Legon Center for International Affairs briefly. I had a stay there, Lesiad, as a visiting scholar and researcher. And then I was also appointed as a junior research fellow. Actually, I had the option of, at that time, junior research fellow, and I had the appointment to the Foreign Ministry, and then I had an appointment at the U.S. Embassy to be a political specialist at that time. So I had these three to choose from, and I chose the Foreign Ministry because I had done my national service there. I'd seen the environment, I liked it, and I felt I should serve my country. So I went in.
You would excel in that capacity.
We have been there. Been in the Foreign Ministry for close to, with my national service, a little bit more or less 3 decades in the Foreign Ministry, and have served in various capacities in the Foreign Ministry and outside. I've served in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, as Ghana's Consul General there for 4 years. I served also in Japan for 4 years. I was then deputy and then head of chancery as well. And as I mentioned earlier, I had actually served in this particular embassy as well as an officer, minister counselor at that time. And served also in Pretoria as the deputy high commissioner. I actually came directly from Pretoria to this mission. In the meanwhile, I have also done a 2-year stint at the office of the president. I was an attachment at the office of the president for 2 years. So my life has been in this diplomatic environment and serving the government and people of Ghana in these various countries. And at the headquarters in the Foreign Ministry, I have worked in almost quite a number of the departments and bureaus in the ministry. My the last time I left the ministry was as a director for the Middle East.
Okay.
So actually...
And this was in which year?
I was director for Middle East from 2017 to 2019. So I had to, working under the leadership of the Foreign Minister, Honorable Ariko Boche. We had to open the new missions in Kuwait, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Those were the times that were increased diplomacy. Ghana was increasing its diplomacy in the Middle East, and then I was then the director of Middle East, working directly under the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Shari Ariko Boche. And then we had some presidential visits, ministerial visits, just like we just had in Spain here, just
the official visit
2 days ago. So basically, that is Mohammed Adam. And these are basically my areas. I'm more interested in my job as a diplomat, working in the interest of Ghana. In Jeddah, I was responsible for all this Hajj. The Hajj, the pilgrimage. I believe that was when I had my baptism of fire. Having that type of number of Ghanaians coming to perform Hajj, having to deal with the crowd, the airport, signing agreements with the Saudi authorities, making sure that we implement this agreement, taking care of Ghanaian programs in all those areas. I've done that, and then from there eventually we came to Spain as well. Came and did what we could, serving under our various ambassadors, the 2 ambassadors I mentioned to you earlier on. I did the same in Saudi Arabia. I served under Ambassador Razak Tahir, one of our strong Muslim clerics in Ghana.
Okay.
He's dead. May his soul rest in peace. And Ambassador Bukari Sumani. So I have done worked extensively, working on the various ambassadors, and I'm working on the various ambassadors at the base as well. You have. You
have. So we're still talking to Ghana's representative to Spain, and we are learning all about him as a person, and of course his mandate here under his leadership, what he is about in getting Ghana out there on the global stage. It's been very interesting so far to learn more about him as a person. Now, this is where we delve into our interest when it comes to this relationship, Ghana-Spain, diplomatic ties or bilateral relations. Excellency, obviously you've been through the ranks.
Yes.
You've been through the ranks, and here you are with a bigger responsibility. Now you are in charge of our interest as a country, which is Ghana, and our aspirations when it comes to our relationship with Spain, the Kingdom of Spain. We followed the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, as you intimated earlier, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Boche, on her official visit to Spain as part of enhancing or deepening bilateral relations with the Kingdom of Spain. There were a number of MOUs signed during her visit, which is of interest to us, and we would want to share that with the public. The people would like to know what the ministry has been about and what the nitty-gritties are when it comes to the MOUs that were signed. But before we come to the MOUs and all of that, I would want us to talk about, generally, how would you summarize relations between our two countries?
Relations between Ghana and Spain, excellent. It's at a very high level. Ghana generally, its role in Africa is similar to Spain's role in Europe. Ghana has been a pioneer, a pace setter in Africa, and continues to work for peace, stability, good good relations between neighboring countries in Africa, as a pioneer in West Africa, assisting ECOWAS, working hard within the context of ECOWAS, within the context of Africa. Spain, on the other hand, is a country in Europe, which is also working well to ensure that Europe focuses on Africa. So Spain is basically serving Africa's interests within the context of the European Union. And we share a lot of things in common. Spain thinks that there's a need for stability in our region because we are the closest neighbors. They are the closest neighbors to Africa. That's the closest European country to Africa. So if you look at these migration flows, for instance, and it happens from West Africa, it comes directly to Spain. So for them, their interest is to make sure that we are stable, we develop, such that once we develop, they would also have peace. It's like our traditionals, when we say that when you hear that there is your neighbor's house is on fire, we make sure you think that you should be expecting fire from your end. So the best to do is to make sure that your neighbor is safe, and then you are also safe. So Spain understands Africa from that perspective. And Spanish, generally, their view of African generally that I've come to see is they would want us to relate well and assist each other for our mutual benefits.
Right.
Spain doesn't have that much colonial history in Africa like other European countries.
Yeah.
Their only territory has been colonial. You can talk about Equatorial Guinea, but in our area, for instance, most of them they don't have much colonial interest. So their interest basically is more altruistic, very human-centered, and way of trying to assist us, and also making sure that there are no wars and these problems that we have in some of our neighboring countries are sorted out properly. So they assisted very well. And Ghana is also playing a similar role. Spain has had its troops in Mali, for instance, trying to stabilize it. Ghana is doing the same. Spain have been sending maritime helping us in maritime security. And Ghana is doing the same. And they have had not only in Ghana, they have what they call they established what they call Casa Africa to deepen their interests in Africa. They have had their first 3 plans that they call first, second, and third Africa plan, within which Ghana is seen as a priority country. So Ghana is a priority country. So they are not only thinking about the areas where there are issues, but they see Ghana as a country that is stable, that is democratic, that has strong institutions. So these are the countries. They also want to work with Ghana to let Ghana become an example for the rest of the in the region, and assist. So they are not only interested in those sort of, if you will, dousing the flames. They are also making sure that they can assist countries and cooperate with countries like Ghana to let us see the other part of Africa. The true, the media has not been very, as you know, they have not been very, very fair to Africa generally. But what Spain is doing, for instance, if it's highlighted, then we would see the other side of Africa more than already see these negative issues that happen. But within that context, Ghana-Spain relations has been very, very positive. We cooperate in so many areas. Spanish companies are increasingly becoming interested in Ghana. I believe I was talking to somebody who did not even know that Gino, yeah. Gino is from
Gino tomato paste. That's a brand.
Yes, a brand from.
That's from Spain.
From Spain.
Well,
that's a household name in Ghana, but people don't know that it's from Spain. It's a Spanish company, yes. So Spanish companies are increasingly becoming more interested. Gino, for instance, I sat in the very office, the chief executive of Gino. Now they want to even establish a farm of that can employ about 6,000 Ghanaians in Ghana to establish and expand their activities in West Africa. They are de-emphasizing their activity in some countries and making it to have more of their farms in Ghana to cater for the West African sub-region. In our actually meeting with I don't know whether you called, we went there, the foreign minister's meeting with his counterpart.
Right.
Their counterpart. Those issues came up. How we could encourage more Spanish companies to follow the example of Gino, so that we have more Spanish companies and more
FDIs and all of that.
Yes. So within the actually, when it's going to unveil a new Africa strategy in September, October. And Ghana is going to feature very well in that strategy as well. That's when we expect them to have instruments, financial instruments that will support Spanish companies in their operations in Ghana. We have quite a number of other Spanish companies in various areas as well.
Right.
You have
Construction.
Construction. We have them. You have Elecnor in solar energy. You have Maxam in the mines, and you have they have a strong presence in Tema as well. In the gas field, there's a particular gas company in Tema. So Spain, they came late, but they are coming with force, and the relations are becoming increasingly diverse in all aspects.
The relationship is increasingly becoming diverse in all aspects, indeed. You talked about the mainstream media not doing much in highlighting diplomatic or international relations, let me put it that way, between Africa and its development partners, or zooming in Ghana and its development partners. With regards to Spain-Ghana relations. Well, it is why we are here, Excellency, which is why we are highlighting, we are very much interested in what other countries are doing with our countries, because we want the public to begin to be part of the discourse and appreciate the efforts that are being made in getting Ghana to partner with these countries, what the benefits are in creating jobs and, you know, creating relationships and leading to so many good fortunes for our country. So this is why we are here. Diplomatic Affairs is here to do that job. Well, interestingly, you have summarized the core of relations between our two countries, and I like the fact that you talked about, you know, trade relations between our two countries. We've touched briefly on construction, and then even also in the Gino, for instance. This is like a discovery for me, because I didn't really know, and Gino has been in the markets, on the Ghanaian markets, for a very long time, and I never knew.
The household name, it is from Spain.
Is it that popular here in Spain as well?
Yeah, it's popular in Spain, but in different, not using that brand. It's not only in Spain. Actually, it's in one or two other some Northern African countries as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it is exported to other countries as well.
But it's here. It is popularly known as GB Foods.
Ah, GB Foods. Okay, all right. All right.
And actually, they also call it Gahina Blancas. That's
Interesting. All right, so the focus is still on Ghana-Spain relations, and we'll be talking to Ghana's ambassador to Spain, His Excellency Mohammed Adam, and we've been talking about the various areas of partnership between our two countries. We've discussed Gino, Gino, right? Gino is such a discovery for me, you know. But let's also talk about tourism. So tourism, Spain is known for its great historical sites. The ambassador has asked me whether we have been able to explore Spain as we should. I have assured him that I believe your office will make it possible for us to visit a few key places, exactly, so we can talk about it when we meet him back home. Now, let's say in terms of tourism, I know that tourism is key when it comes to relations between our two countries. And two key MOUs were signed also, and tourism featured in that MOU. So let's talk about what we are looking at when it comes to, opportunities in that area.
Yes, tourism, Ghana-Spain relations with respect to tourism. The agreement that was signed on tourism has been on the drawing board for a while. In June, the new Minister for Tourism, Honorable Japan Messi, was here in Barcelona when we had the UNWTO meeting, and the final draft of the tourism agreement between the two countries was reviewed for signature. And then we took advantage of the visit of the Honorable Minister to make sure that we
sealed this deal.
That is why we signed, the Honorable Minister signed on behalf of the Minister of Tourism at the Ministry of Tourism. It has various areas of cooperation between Ghana and Spain in tourism. as you rightly indicated, for Spain, tourism is very, very important. Tourism forms between 14 to 16% of Spain's GDP is in tourism. I was talking to a Spanish
that is
person.
Big.
Yeah, big. And he told me that tourism is to Spain what oil is to Nigeria. So it could be what gold or cocoa is to Ghana.
Absolutely.
So, and they have developed their tourism over the years. I mean, Spain gets 85 million tourists a year.
85 million
tourists
a
year.
Annually.
That is more than what Africa gets.
What? The entire continent combined?
Africa combined doesn't get that. And they are almost within the first and second in the world. So if you have such a country that you have a relationship with, then you need to learn from them. How did they do it? So that you can also follow that path. Mind you, tourism is an area that is easy. It has no barriers. These other barriers that you have, trade barriers, you don't get. So tourism is free. And what comes out of it too has this trickle-down effect. If you have tourists going into your village,
yes,
you have people doing art and craft, you are creating jobs, so it's going downstream. And so we need to learn from Spain, and that is what we are doing. And Spain is prepared to help. They have actually provided some training for our people for some time now. They've been training hot cart and some other training programs that they have actually mounted in Ghana as well. So all these are part of the things, some of the things we saw and realized that we really need to learn from Spain. We need to cooperate with them to ensure that we learn the good practices.
Right.
Actually, when we were talking to the minister, was talking to his counterpart, he said, "Oh, you will learn from the good practices, and we also tell you areas where we shouldn't go. Let our bad experiences that we have."
Right.
So if you have somebody who is ahead and you are learning from them and they are prepared to help you, why not? And Spain we cooperate in our area of tourism. We also cooperate within the context of the United Nations tourism called UN Tourism. It's an organization that is headquartered in Spain here. Because it's headquartered in Spain, Spain is a permanent member of the Executive Council of that organization. And Ghana was recently re-elected. We've been there before, but recently we became a member of the Executive Council. That's how come we had that meeting in Barcelona. So part of our dealings with Spain is also cooperate with them within the context of that organization as well. And that organization is an organization that pushes tourism worldwide. During the COVID, for instance, just after the COVID, the organization came forward to put in place measures that would facilitate increase in tourism regenerating after the pandemic, and they've done a lot of work there. And Ghana is cooperating with Spain within the context of that organization as well. So our tourism is basically, we haven't really explored our tourism potentials.
Right.
We have done it, but we need to do more.
Right.
But with Spain, we can learn more and do more. Our services and look at our forts and castles. I was telling one Spanish guy that we have. Spanish people, they don't even know much about our tourism offerings there. Ghana, you know that we have more in terms of the tourists from Europe, from US. The African Americans who had to the diaspora engagement, then the
year of return and beyond the year of return initiatives.
And this actually encourage a lot of tourists from there.
Right.
So we need to encourage more from this side as well. So I've been talking to the Spanish. We have done a lot of engagements in various universities and various areas to try and draw attention to our potential in Ghana as well. So with this agreement and the Spanish also prepared to assist us, I think the sky would be the limit eventually for Ghana tourism.
The sky is the limit when it comes to Ghana's tourism. Excellency, I have a concern though. I don't think this is the first time we are signing such an MOU with any of our development partners. We have signed MOUs with other countries who have excelled in tourism, but we haven't really realized that when it comes to the gains of this agreement, benefiting from this agreement. You talked about replicating best practices. It's one of the most common thing that I say all the time when it comes to relations with our development partners. And you also made this point that I so much agree with. We are friends because we want to learn from each other. We want to progress. We all want to move to the top together. So I learn from you, you also learn from me.
Exactly.
But to what do we really gain? How our actions, how actionable is this going to be? Because we want to see it reflecting the lives of the people, the private sector, you know, and all the people who are here. It's a chain, a huge chain.
In the case of the tourism with Spain, actually, I will tell you that we had actually even started seeing something before even signing this agreement.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, Spain, they have been assisting us with technical training, and our, you know, I mean, not even the services. Sometimes you see an area like tourism, you need to provide services in a way that would attract people to come and come more, not to drive them away. And then we have been learning from Spain from this on this
customer service is a serious
problem. Training our
gatekeepers
eventually. So we've been learning from them on that as well. We also are thinking about more investment. Spanish companies that have established hotels, for instance. We need to have more hotels that can facilitate exchanges and hotels. So these are areas that we expect to get more from there. Actually, I remember the minister, one of the things in the meeting was some hotel chains in Spain who would the possibility of establishing some hotels in Ghana. So this is going to boost our tourism. There have been situations where you go and the hotels are full because you don't have enough. So if you have Spanish investing in Ghana, I think these are practical things that you would see, that these are there, the hotels are there, it is helping. So once we have a hotel, the tourists are coming, it will trickle down to the people. More tourists, they will come, they will need food. People have to establish farms to be able to provide food for them. We need agriculture. So it will boost. So, and arts and crafts. Tourists come, you need to make these arts and crafts for them. So you would have, it will have effect down the chain. So it's something really we need to look at and we need to work on. And I know the Ministry of Tourism have been doing a lot. We have had tourism development plans, which have since 2015 or something like that. I mean, we have way before that, and we have. It's a question of implementing gradually. Spain did not get to this place overnight.
Absolutely,
they have been. You know, I have read. Yes. I have read when they had to be changing the sort of meals they even serve tourists so many years ago. So then eventually they are here, they are on top. They are among the top two. You talk about Spain, France, the US. These are the three top countries. It's been changing. One day is Spain, another year it is France, another year
very
it is
competitive.
Yes. So we will get there. And I think we realize it. And these MOUs, and it's drawing our attention to some of our weaknesses and some of our strengths. Then, so I am confident that our tourism, with our cooperation with Spain in the area of tourism, Spain is among the top three. So if you are cooperating with a country like that, you are aiming high.
All right. Empowering the private sector to excel in this area is very important. I'm excited about this MOU, especially with tourism, because like you mentioned, it's been shelved for a very long time. And finally that it's here, at least we can begin to realize the gains from the partnership. And we want to feel it down, like you said, trickle down, you know, and there's something called trickle down diplomacy. So I want to ensure that the people would, you know, feel it and appreciate the efforts made towards this. And then also another thing that came up in the signing of the MOU, like I mentioned, two key areas. One was sports. Sports diplomacy is gaining a lot of momentum. It is one of the elements of this profession which seems to easily connect people. It's a breaking barrier for a lot, the whole world, where people, it's a soft power kind of way of getting things done. And then for me, I know when it comes to football, then again we cannot talk about football without talking about Spain. They are known for for football, soccer.
Yes, I will tell you something very interesting. It was just rather very propitious. The very time that the minister was coming, the night before the minister came here, Spain won the Euro Cup.
Right.
And you know how they won it? They won it with a goal by Nico Williams from Ghana.
Yes. Proudly Ghanaian.
Proudly Ghanaian. So you can imagine. So actually, before that match, on the Saturday, I had a meeting with some colleagues somewhere, and there were a lot of Spanish youth. And they told them that, the Ghana ambassador is coming here. And they said, Nico,
they were expecting.
Nico had not even gone to play the ball to score the final in the final for us. So you could imagine that. So it was so wonderful to see how the Spanish people now identified with Ghana in the night, and the minister came just the following day. So actually, even the meetings that he had with the various ministers, that was the initial conversation.
Right, and I met with the ambassador, and he was also talking about it.
So sports, and we need to cooperate in that area. Not only beyond Nico, you had Nico's brother also playing for Ghana,
right?
And we have had Ghanaian footballers also playing in Spain. And this Nico, actually, the Nico. And his brother's effect. I don't know what happened. I had to go and give a presentation about 2-3 months ago at their school of their diplomatic school.
Okay.
The night before, Nico and his brother had played for the Atletico Bilbao, and they had won the cup in Spain. So it made my work so easy for me. And this time to have it. So we really have to cooperate in the area. So the memorandum of understanding was signed just at a propitious moment when we had this just behind us. But it provides for a lot of cooperation. That memorandum of understanding that we signed provides a lot of cooperation, even in women's sports.
I was just coming to that. Another exciting topic.
Women's sports, the youth sports.
Right.
You see how and unfortunately Ghana we are also there now, because the youth are trained. These footballers, they start very early. Ghana we also have the academies now. Look at this young man, Yamin Jamal, 16, 17 year old.
Yes.
Because they have training they are training them right from the beginning.
Early age. So it makes it easier. We need to
Ghana,
catch them young.
Calls at that time. Because when I was growing up, we had calls where Abedi Pele and the rest of them all came from. But now we have the academies anyway. But then we need to learn from what they have here. When you go to Real Madrid, they have their youth teams throughout from infants, 6, 7 years up there. And this agreement provides for our cooperation in the area of sports, youth, and women's sports as well. So we are really dealing with the right partner. Spain, as you yourself said, in the area of sports, if you talk about football, we are talking about Spain.
Right.
If you talk about tourism, we are talking about Spain. So we have actually signed agreement in 2 strategic areas.
Right.
These are the areas they have the strength. So we really need to cooperate with them in those areas to learn from their experiences, share experiences with them. This is a country that is prepared to share with us. They are altruistic. It is not as if there is any. They don't have that colonial link that I had mentioned earlier on. That would let you think that because of that, but they are doing a lot of things to support us, having these other interests that I mentioned. So we are sharing expertise together. We are sharing expertise.
Excellency, that takes me to an observation that I have made with regard to the advanced countries. You talked about catching them young, at an early age, creating that, enabling them that atmosphere for them to function from a very tender age. I do know that most of these developed countries find a way to incorporate extracurricular activities into their, academic calendars, right? back home, we don't. I'm just hoping that it will be one of the things that we will be learning from our partners, especially on the back of this agreement, where schools would begin to incorporate extracurricular activities into the school calendars for the pupils to have time, make time, available time, and also look at these things in building, in preparing them for the future, because there are so many opportunities in that area. For us, we have always focused on just the classroom lessons, strictly academic, and we have shunned the extracurricular activities, but they find a way to blend it so well that if the child doesn't function academically, at least they still can have a profession, a career from the extracurricular timetable created.
Yes, that's true. I think I can even talk about my own personal experience in this. I think we have been concentrating quite a lot on the academic without putting emphasis on the sports. As I sit here now I'm able to, I run about 5-7 kilometers daily from time to time. Yes. But when I was in school, I attended T.I. Amadeo Secondary School in Kumasi, one of the schools that have the best sports facilities. And then, unfortunately, my school was quite good in sports. But somehow, for some reason, I didn't concentrate. I knew that in primary school I was doing well, but I somehow ignored it, and I was concentrating more on academic areas. And later I look back, I say, oh, I could have done a lot in school. My son went to school now, and he was all over the place. He was in France, getting awards, running. He has a national record actually in one of the sports. And I said, yes, I'm a very, and I know that I'm a very good 100
meters. He got it from dad.
Yes, 100 meters runner.
Exactly.
So I could have done that. But because of this lack of, we were seeing it differently. You know, we thought that no, you should concentrate. So, but you've come here and you see that people are able to combine and to do well, and you can't do sports without. You can't just concentrate on academics and leave sports. It's good for your health. And now I'm here, I'm able to run, even at my age, I am able to run for 7 kilometers. When I was not doing that, yes.
Amazing.
So
amazing. We need to do that. We need to find a way to rope that in. Exactly. So we can at least get these young ones to pick up their talents and harness these early enough. I'm glad we discussed this as well. Now let's talk about culture. Cultural diplomacy is very high on the agenda when it comes to engagements between countries, international relations, and of course diplomacy. It's also regarded as a key soft power item, if I can put it that way, in getting things done. Now back home, your counterpart has been very is very active and very big, very intentional, if I can say so, using culture, blending both cultures, Spain and Ghana, in telling a story and getting the Ghanaian public to appreciate Spain and get to know Spain better by way of language, by way of food, by way of art, you know, in the creatives. Recently, he's, I think, embarked on 2 major projects: theater, arts, theater, by collaborating with this young man from Ghana, and they are doing so well. Latif. Exactly, and they are doing so well. And now everybody wants to use that gate to open their countries up for their host countries to appreciate and get to know them better. What are we doing here in getting Ghana out to the Spanish people?
We are doing our part in our own way. I'll start because you mentioned Latif's name. I'll mention Latif's name as well. Okay. Latif, we're actually collaborating with Latif as well. Latif is coming here on the 8th of September. We are organizing something at the Retiro Park. Retiro is one of the tourist attractions, the area that is quite very attractive to tourists as well as Spanish people. So there is a particular place, particular theater. We want to have a program there just to let people know more about Ghana culture as well.
Lovely.
We have done one or two programs there. One was in Ghana Film, which was not too successful. But we had some other program in Kente Festival.
And talking of Kente, I see you, this huge, colorful, vibrant, backdrop. I just like the contrast, the Kente and then the outfit you are wearing, which is the smoke. This is like, the signature of the northness. And then I also have the south, which is our almighty Kente, blended together. It's a very interesting, idea, concept.
Yes, actually, I try as much as possible to project our culture. The day I presented my credentials, I was in something similar, something
like this,
bigger, a little bit bigger, and I use occasionally on national days we have. Okay, that is me. Yeah.
So now we have
that is me.
We have this. Is that you?
That is me, but this one it is not me now.
Okay.
This one has to do. This picture was when I was. I acted as the ambassador briefly because I was the number 2 and my ambassador was not there.
Okay.
That time the current king, this is the current king, who was then the prince at that time. So every year we have New Year greetings, you go to greet the king.
Right.
So I had the opportunity because my ambassador was not there to do that on behalf of the nation. So I wore this one to show it. And I still wear my kente on on those New Year days, and the king have occasionally said, "Oh, these your things are nice," and I said, "That's why we should come to Ghana to come on."
Have you gifted him smoke?
Actually,
Kente,
when I
anything
came, but I'll tell you,
Ghanaian?
I'll tell you this. This one is I took this picture with him when he was then the crown prince at that time.
Okay.
And then when I came back and after presenting my credentials to him, I sent him this particular copy of this picture.
Oh.
So you can imagine, and they wrote back to me. I mean,
my goodness.
Yes.
They were so appreciative.
And I actually from
this
interaction,
this is highly symbolic.
So these interactions have made his interest in Kente, and he is actually keen on going to visit Ghana. The president has already invited him,
right.
and I believe eventually that visit will take place. We may not be the ambassadors here, but they say
you are laying the foundation.
The foundation. They say
right.
By the time the chrysanthemums blossom, those who planted them might have been long gone. But I'm telling you, you would very soon, one day, not too long,
it will happen.
You'll see the King of Spain visiting Ghana.
We can't wait.
These interactions,
I'm sure we will be here. We will gladly be here to cover his visit.
His visit,
yes, his visit. So that's super nice.
So we have actually done a lot of our own way, in our own small way. Shown the Ghanaian culture.
The Ghanaian culture. The Ghanaian culture through arts.
Through arts.
We can tell the Ghanaian culture or display the Ghanaian culture through food. Culinary diplomacy is big on the table.
You have touched on it. Africa Day, we had Africa Day on 25th of
May.
And all of us African countries, we displayed our food there. Come and see. We should have been here to see the Ghana stand.
Should we talk about the Ghana jollof?
We had jollof, we had
wache, all of TZ.
And we had to be competing with my Spanish, my Senegalese colleague.
And our Nigerian friends.
Nigerian friends, which jollof is, which jollof is original. And then we had to now tell Senegal, okay, yours is jambuje, it's not jollof. Then we had to, because the jollof, they say jollof is actually even from the name is Wolof. So
Wolof,
they think that it's jollof. So I gave them that, and I gave the Senegalese ambassador that one, I give it to you. But this type of food is ours, and we beat Nigeria.
Wow.
So we have actually displayed Ghanaian food as well.
Talking of culinary diplomacy, do we have Ghanaian restaurants? At least I'm sure if we have these, introduced in the Spanish, community, they would very much appreciate it. So do we have something like that?
We had we had a Ghanaian restaurant in Torrejon where we had a lot of concentration of Ghanaians in Madrid here. But unfortunately, a lot of the Ghanaians who were there have moved So we don't have it here. So in Madrid here we don't have. But I understand there's one in Barcelona, not Barcelona itself, but Barcelona area. And I've seen one in the southern part of Spain. Another part. So there are areas where we have a concentration of Ghanaian. We have some Ghanaian food there. But it's a question of now making it a little bit bigger and wider for the Spanish, commercialized in a way that the Spanish people can also take.
Right.
If you remember, actually, the Spanish, we have this thing that is our jollof. They have something similar called paella.
Oh.
It's similar to jollof. So when the security people who in my house,
when
they
enjoyed it.
They felt that wow. And I told them that this is similar to. They said yes.
They did.
So these are things that we can still. There's more room for improvement.
Right, drinks and these days, interestingly, in the diplomatic community, when there are receptions, they really introduce the Ghanaian, the drinks, the local drinks. There are so many options.
Actually, we have an invitation to, flowing from that Africa Day, we have an invitation to go and mount one at a function that they are going to do somewhere in October. They brought me the proposal, but we look at the cost and we are trying to see whether we can get some sponsorship for us to be able to do that. Yeah, because the cost was
we can help with that. I'm sure the private sector would very much love to support
we have
such
one or two
initiatives.
Spanish companies who are in Ghana, like the GB Foods and Matsam that I'm talking about. We may approach them to see whether they could assist us to mount that event there. They have been
This will be good for us. Yes, it will give us a lot of we use that as a leverage to put Ghana out there as well. So that is extremely interesting. So I'm happy about the advancements in the area of culture, language, because the Spanish language is gaining a lot of momentum back home. Yes, it's gaining a lot of momentum back home.
They are doing well as well, because now we have Spanish Ghanaian students also coming to learn Spanish.
Right.
From Legon. Our days we had that program. It was suspended. Now we have some Ghanaians coming. University of Salamanca, which is one of the biggest universities in Spain. Students from Legon are there, and you have Ghanaians studying in other universities as well. We have IE University, which is a very prestigious school here. We have Ghanaians there. And Ghanaians in other, we initially thought that people have the idea that you come here only when you speak Spanish. There are some universities where you can use English. Where they use English.
They teach English, right? They use English to teach.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
You can, some few of the universities are there. So we have this agreement with the University of Salamanca, then IE University, and University of Zaragoza. And these are places where Ghanaians have been going. But there are other Ghanaians who are also living here who have been in schools. Traditionally we've been going to England, US and all that, but I think now we should be looking to Spain as well.
Right.
So we can have Ghanaians coming to... You come and study in English, but you are in a Spanish-speaking environment.
Community, so you should pick the basics, right?
You
should pick the basics.
And if you're even serious, you can move higher. Some of us came here not even as students, and we ended up speaking the language. So if you're a student, you should be able to
pick the basics. Yes, to do better. Absolutely, to do. Except we are wrapping up on our conversation. We've talked about the highs in partnership with Spain, Ghana and Spain, the highs. What are some of the challenges in let's say trade, for instance, which is of importance when it comes to engagements between countries? Yes. Shall we look at some of the challenges and how government is working to address some of these challenges?
Basically, Spain is within Europe. And most of these trade agreements are within the context of the European Union.
Right.
So, it's the European Union, most of the time, we have had some barriers of making sure that they want to have some standards before we can export some of our non-traditional exports here. So these are basically some of the issues. So it's not peculiar to Spain. It is basically Europe-wide issue, but you have... other companies have been able to penetrate. We have bananas that we import. You have pineapples, and the Spanish people actually are even prepared to help. I remember last year when Spain was about taking the presidency of the European Union, the Afro Banana is an African banana producing company, say conglomerate sort of from various countries, including Ghana and Ivory Coast. You have this banana production in eastern region there, and they have a lot to come together to try, because you have the Latin Americans, they also bring a lot of banana. So we have to now find a way of making sure that Spain doesn't use its presidency to encourage more of the Latin American countries than here. But now we realize that it is possible. It was not possible. Spain was open to assisting us. So now we have actually, in the case of trade, Spanish trade with Africa is now exceeding its trade with its traditional allies, which was Latin America. They had been in Latin America for years. So, but now, increasingly, Spain is trading more with Africa than even with Latin America. But then it's a question of making sure that it is not going to be one way.
Right.
So our banana and non-traditional exports need to come into Spain. So that is what we are doing. The government is doing well. We now have GB Foods having gone to establish in Ghana. They are not only going to produce only for the Ghanaian market.
Right.
Some of them will end up here. And we want to replicate the experiences of GB Foods, for instance, in Ghana. So even though there have been slight challenges European-wide, not only in Spain, but I think these are challenges that have been overcome over the years. Gradually we have overcome some of them, and we should be looking positively. What I should even tell you, which since you are saying we are wrapping up, which I want us to let the Ghanaian public know very well, it's the immigration, circular migration that was announced between the Foreign Minister of Spain and the Foreign Minister of Ghana. We have had an announcement was made where Ghana is going to have a pilot project to Spain with about some of our nationals coming here to work in particular fields in the area of agriculture. We'll start with about 50, but strictly people who can come and work and then go back. And so we will be able to do it over the years. People who even eventually become, they can through that even have a stay in the country. So it's going to be properly managed, and it's a big breakthrough that they've established with Ghana. They don't even have it with a country. The only countries that they have with are Senegal and Morocco, and then some of the Latin American countries, which have a lot of nationals here. But Ghana, given our nationals, our nationals are not as many as theirs. So it's an important highlight of the visit.
Wow.
So we are going to have we are going to sign a circular migration agreement eventually. But this one is a circular migration project, where it's a special project between Ghana and Spain, where they are going to have Ghanaians come here, briefly come and work, go back and come and go back, making sure that they go. But then eventually those who go and come back eventually could even have a way of staying.
Right.
Spain is going through a time, and Europe generally is going through a time when they are having an aging population.
Right.
We have a youthful population. So we eventually are the future of Europe as far as immigration is concerned. So we shouldn't be looking at only the negative side of immigration when people are going through the deserts and stuff like that. But this is for the future. This is what we have for the future, where people can come legally through the secular means and then stay, work, and support the economy here and support their country. So the future of Europe, I'm telling you, is also in the hands of the African youth who will come here, work in the organized manner to support the here and also support our people back home as well. So we have a breakthrough migration, circular migration project between Ghana